Hello, hello. It's me, Annalisa, with my spiritual friend. I'm back. Just readjusting that. Okay. I apologize for being a little bit late today. We had a Girl Scout booth. I'm just waiting for some people to jump on since I just normally give a few minutes and a heads up. So we'll see. So exciting. Let me go on here and figure out my list. Hello, hello. Welcome. If you're here, thank you for joining me today. It is Sunday, March 19th, 2023. I am just getting set up. I'm sorry I'm late. I had a Girl Scout cookie booth down the block. And so I was freezing my arse off outside, to be quite honest. Well, that was noisy. My apologies. All right, so let's see who's paid for readings. All right, I've got Kristen, Nicole, and Clorinda. Hi, Clorinda. Let me just put the list up real quick. I'm a little behind. We had a Girl Scout cookie booth down the street. It was supposed to be last weekend. The weather was terrible last weekend. It was raining, snowing, something. And today it's just windy, really cold. So yesterday we had a cookie booth outside of a Dunkin' Donuts, and my kids were like, it's between like two, like we were on a little slit of grass between Dunkin' Donuts and McDonald's. So all the little Girl Scouts were like running to both sides to try and get all the customers they could. So this weekend and next weekend are Girl Scout filled weekends, and the following weekend isn't. So got lots of cookie booths right now. We're doing. I've got 2 kids in Girl Scouts, so it's a lot. Okay, so and I got you can't see me? Hang on. I've got somebody who said they can't see me. Hold on just a second. Who else is here? Say hello if you're here. I see Clorinda's here. Can you just pop a hello in the chat so I can see who's here? Might just be a couple people. Hi, Nicole. Okay, good. Wait, who was the other name? Kristen. Okay, hopefully Kristen is here. Nicole, Clorinda, and hi, Rose. Oh, Rose, hi. It's good to see you. It's been a while. So for whoever's here, I am doing something new. Let me just ask this person's screen name really quick. Hi, Kristen. Welcome, welcome. Oh, you're Meg's friend. Okay, perfect. So you found me. Perfect. I knew I hadn't recognized your name. I've got some hat hair going on here, people. I basically took a shower, dried my hair, and then realized it's like super windy and cold out. I'm like, well, I'm going to put a hat on, and now it's just going to be weird. So there's that. So Kristen, what's your question? You can go ahead and go. Rothka, that's right. It's like doing things. I'm trying to get it to, I don't know, whatever. It is what it is. I'll blame the Girl Scouts. So, okay, if you want to ask your question, I was going to say, so y'all know I've been on here for like 4 years now. More than 4 years. Almost 4 years ago to the day, I had one. These are not on my live videos because I used to not do them live because was nervous. I didn't have enough. Maybe I didn't have enough people, or I didn't have enough people, and originally I wasn't doing. I don't remember. They were terrible recordings. I really wasn't comfortable, but I did a prediction, and one of the things I was talking about was the Mueller report, and I said I never thought that he would get caught on something with the Mueller report, but I always felt that like the Southern District of New York would get him on like some kind of like racketeering or some kind of other charges that are like white collar crime stuff. So I had that one video, and then I had another video that said I saw him, the next one where I said I had a vision of him getting with his hands behind his back in like a federal building, and there was like marble behind him. I didn't say what color. I thought it was the FBI, but it was men in suits. It wasn't like police officers. So I think it might have been the Secret Service. I don't know. However, they're doing that. So just saying that may be coming to fruition this week. I'm good. I'm going to toot my own horn. Kristen's looking at a house tomorrow. Would it be a good decision to buy this house? What am I going to become, the realtor, the psychic realtor? Hold on. I find it funny. Sorry. I crack myself up. I mean, if I'm not going to make anybody laugh but myself, I'm okay with that. Meg's got me. Meg, why do you have realtors? He's come to me. Okay, wait, hold on. I'm looking for my little thing that I like to doodle on sometimes when I'm like just scribbling thoughts down when I'm in my reading sheet section. Okay. Can you do you mind don't give me the street number, just give me the street name, because like I want to connect with the house like a personality, if that makes sense. So like one of my friends, it was funny, she was asking about a house she was going to buy, and I kept seeing Christmas trees, and the street she lives on is I think it's Santa Monica or something. It's not out in California, but it's like Santa something, but I kept seeing Christmas trees, which is like, right, Santa. Grandview. Okay. That sounds so grand. All right, so I'm like, God, I hate that I see this. So I don't know. I want to be wrong on this. I see a house that's colonial style on a slight hill. Like, I don't know if it's a really big hill, but the way I'm standing, I feel like I'm standing maybe 10 feet outside of the house. I'm in the grass. There's a sidewalk that kind of curves a little bit. And I see like maybe just a couple steps, and because I can see like maybe about at most a foot of what we like concrete slab, and then like, the house. And I feel like I don't know if there's big pillars, but I just feel like it's like there's like the awning of the house is much higher up, right? And I keep seeing a crack, and I don't know if it's a crack. I honestly can't tell if this is a crack in the foundation or a crack in the steps. Does this resonate when I say that to you? I don't know. Like, I don't want to say like, don't buy the house. Cause everybody has their own okay with what they'll deal with renovations and what they want to put up with. I need want to read your questions again. Everything I'm saying is right. Okay. Um, I don't know. I have to say this. I don't know if that's a superficial crack that's just in the stairs or if there is an issue with the foundation. So whatever it is, it might just be the slab that's like the outside of the house type thing that's not really a part of the foundation. The guy is selling by owner. He said he'll sell it to us on Monday, but we only have 24 hours to let them know, and he'll tell all the other 14 people. Okay. I'm just saying that I think there's more problems than you can see. I'm I'm really reticent to say it's a good deal because that crack, right? And foundational issues are like expensive to fix. It's not even just expensive. They're like, I mean, the house behind me they had to fix the foundation because they bought the house like uh it was repossessed and they bought it from the bank. And why is this out of there? Jeez Louise. Um and I mean, they did a lot of heavy machinery coming in and digging out a lot of stuff in order to get to it to fix it. I don't know if I honestly don't know if you should buy it. It depends on what like so I'm not getting a big yes, right? So then my logic side goes, I don't know what your budget is. I don't know what your constraints are. And like, are you really in for that? Because like some people are like, I just want move in ready. I want to walk in and not deal with anything. And there's other people who just love projects, right? They're like, oh, I'm so good with that. Like, and then they want to sell the house. They can get another house that has more projects once they're done. You're renting, you'd love another place, but lady is waiting to sell. Um, I I'm concerned about the foundation. That's where I'm concerned about. Like they're not even pulling me inside and showing me anything inside the house. They're showing me the crack in the foundation. I don't know if that's literal or if it's that there's a lot of stuff that you're not going to be able to see that's going to be harder to fix. I'm reticent. Like big red flags go up for me when you're like, oh, he'll sell it to me on the spot and tell all the 14 other people to go home. Like that makes me go, I'm not going to tell you that you shouldn't buy it or that you should buy it because that's me imparting free will. I don't think you will buy it, is what I feel like. So I can't because I can't say like, oh, you should do this or you shouldn't because right, you don't want somebody like you don't really need me to tell you what to do. You're a whole grown person with many years of wisdom behind you. I don't think you'll end up buying it. Like I feel like you get there and you see that, and then it's just a whole off vibe, just doesn't feel right. Like I can't seem to get in that house. Maybe they don't like witches. I'm just kidding. I don't know if I consider myself a witch, but do you want a follow-up question about that or I'm not feeling strong that you will end up buying it. I got to tell you. And if I'm wrong, okay. If I'm wrong, well, then I don't know, but it's just this feeling that they showed me a crack. Like maybe there's like a step up and there's this crack. So I don't know if it's the steps or if it's the foundation. I almost feel like he's tried to sell the house before and something didn't go right with it. Can you look back at the history and see if it was on the market, got pulled off the market, and then put back on the market? This eyebrow is just not a cooperative eyebrow. This one, cooperative. This one, like, look, one that all goes all up and like gives you the eye, cooperative eyebrow. This one is like, you would think this one was the one that had a mind of its own. Is the house coming up for us? Is there a house coming up for you? I'm leaning more towards September for you, to be honest. You don't have to send me more. I'm leaning more towards September for you. And that might be the one with the woman selling it, because I see a female owner. There's a house you like, but the lady is not ready to see yet. Just wondering. Yeah. It might be more towards September. And just because I literally saw September, the name written, the word written. Okay. I hope that's helpful. I hope I'm wrong. They've lived there for 35 years, no history. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just leaning more towards September. And maybe that you're like, you start the process in June or something, but it takes the time to, like, I know in New Jersey, like we closed in a month, but they were pretty much already moved out of here and we wanted a quick sale. Like we wanted a quick purchase. We were ready for everything to move. And like we had everything ready for our bank because we had already been under contract with another house, but then they were doing some weird stuff and they wouldn't repair, they wouldn't do mold remediation. And we were like, okay, never mind. Like we're already incurring a ton of cost to fix plumbing and stuff in the house too. Now you want us to do, like, you won't like even make a concession for mold remediation or do it yourself. Like, no thanks. So, it just, sometimes it just, it's like, it feels like I just heard sell September. So I'm sure you're looking before then, but it just feels like that might be when the closing happens. Okay. I hope that's helpful. Good luck. Tell Meg to give me an update if there's a crack. I'm always curious. I failed the first test. Any idea if I should do next? No, continue. Can I tell you how many people who are really successful people who have failed tests and had to retake them? Like, one not passing does not mean you aren't intelligent or qualified, or capable. I just feel like your anxiety got the best of you. This is the house behind Meg that just sold. Wait, the lady's house or the guy's house? PL, this is these are paid readings. These ones here, if you ever want to do free readings with me, I'll randomly go on like TikTok. Last week I did readings on Thursday and Friday. I do them free over there, but I don't necessarily answer everybody's questions. I just go whatever. And then if you want to purchase a reading, unless you made one and I just didn't see it, and for that, forgive me. Okay, I've got Angela, Virgin, and Joelle on the list now. Yeah, I get nervous. You see me getting the CPA or winish. I do feel like you'll get it. I got your payment, Joel. The house you're looking at Monday is the house behind me. Got it. Did Meg tell you I went to high school in the town over from there? I'm going to answer yours a little bit better in just a second. I just want to get this list caught up, and then I'm going to give you a more thorough, exact answer. I do feel like you will. Angela, Regina, and Joelle. You can join the list. You just I think I pinned here. I don't think I pinned it actually. Let me pin it. The link to pay for a reading, and 30% goes to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. Hi, Rhonda and Toby. Welcome. Thank you for joining me. Regine, Joelle, and good Lord. Angela. Did I put Angela on there? I did. Okay, perfect. Let's see, Kristen went, Nicole. Okay, Nicole, I'm going to focus on you. Give me 2 seconds. You got, and you'll have my 100% attention. Okay. All right. I do feel like you'll pass it. I do feel like you'll get your CPA. So I asked when. I see this year. So I don't know when you can retest. Do you take a retest in like the fall? I feel like it's like you get the answer right away and then you second guess yourself and then you answer the wrong one. So it's like, just go with your initial intuition. You remember when you did the circle and you're like, I was like, okay, what are you feeling intuitively? And it was so obvious to you. Like some of the answers are like, well, this is just because this is like, seems logical to me because it's so, and it's like, yeah, but that's what it is. Like intuition and you're just knowing the answer is, sometimes it just feels really like natural. It feels so natural, right? And you would think like, oh, everybody knows this, but no, everybody doesn't know that stuff. Don't be rude, teabag. So it just feels like, quit second guessing yourself. I literally feel like you answered the right. Did you go back and like re-answer things or something? Thank you, Kayanat Bokhari. Yes, it's 4 parts. I can already take the next part in April. Okay. So then would you be done by September or something? I don't know why they keep telling me those dates, but so retake it. It's okay. It's not the worst thing in the world that you have to retake something. That doesn't make you a failure. I worked with a nurse who I thought was a really fabulous nurse, and she had to retake her NCLEX. Like, it just feels like sometimes you psych yourself out because you're like, it must be harder than this. Like everybody talked about how hard the NCLEX was. So I bought the NCLEX text, like the practice test books, and just literally like, that's all I did. Like I'd be hanging out with my friends, they'd be drinking, and I'd be doing the test books. I was like completely nerded out because I was like, I really need to pass this. I can't afford, I didn't have parents that would like, if I didn't pass and then couldn't work until whatever. Like I had to pass. I felt the pressure, and it just feels like, and so anyway, when I took it, it was like, it just seems so like common sense to me, like following your ABCs, your airway, breathing, circulation, like how you break things down, like how you decide to triage someone, et cetera, et cetera. And that just seems so like, well, that's common sense. Like that's not, like I thought there was going to be way more disease questions on there. And there was like 2 random disease questions that I had never heard of. And I was like, whatever. But like most of it was, I don't know. And it just feels like you're psyching yourself out because you're like, surely it couldn't be that easy. There should be a bigger trick to this. There's got to be some angle to this that I'm missing. It's like, no, there's not. Okay. So remind yourself that like it might actually be that simple. Remember too, when other people go, this is so hard. I used to listen to people whine about stuff all the time. Or like, this teacher is so mean. And I'd be like, oh, I like them. But they weren't mean. They were just, direct, required you to do what they required you to do. And they didn't hold your hand doing it. They weren't gonna like, pat you on the back and be like, no, it's okay next time. They'd be like, what are you doing? They were just, this is the work, this is the required material. And to me, people see things are hard, but really what they mean is it's a lot of work. But it's not necessarily hard, if that makes sense. It just requires more focus or more repetition or practice. So go easy on yourself, please. I do see you passing it. You may even end up, and this sounds weird, but like, I don't know if they have like people who do review courses for the CPA exam or tutoring for whatever, but you may end up doing something like that on the side for some extra money. You know more than you allow yourself to take credit for. So even though I was saying it was cold here, y'all, my friends live in Wisconsin. My friend messaged me yesterday. She's like, it was like a wind chill of 1 degree yesterday morning. And I was like, because I was walking outside and we messaged in the app, Marco Polo app. Okay. Oh, Clorinda, yay. Oh, congratulations. I'm so happy for you. I feel like you're going to wait until May. And it's not because he's a bad guy or anything. It just feels like it works out that it's not until May. There's a lot of stuff on the weekends, a lot of stuff happening, and then just kind of getting a little bit more comfortable. I'm trying to figure out which one of your sons feels a little awkward about it, but they're all nice and they understand. You did tell me you would let me know. How did you meet? I know psychics should know, but sometimes I like things to be like a, conversation. Trying to figure out which one of your sons feels a little bit more awkward, is a little bit more standoffish about it. And I don't think it's because he doesn't like him. I think he's just very protective of you. I feel like your daughter is the most excited about it. Is the guy you're dating, is he tall? Because I keep seeing like a taller guy, shorter gray hair, very handsome. You met on Match. What? Congratulations. A little taller than you. Is he slender? Gray hair, yeah. Do you know who I keep seeing? What's this guy's name? Hang on. I have to look his name up. He was in, okay, wait. Hang on. This might make you laugh. I don't know. I just have to find his character, figure out, and then I can tell you. His okay. He reminds me of like Rick Rossovich from Top Gun. Who did he play? Give me a minute. Like that's who I keep seeing. Slider, one of the. I want to see how tall he is. Where's your stats, dude? Yeah. I know this is probably annoying, but I don't know why they're telling me why I keep seeing him. Height. He's 6'1". Your youngest one is not too happy. That's what I'm feeling. Do you know who Rick Rossovich is? Well, I don't know why they're showing me him. So he feels, and I don't know why energetically he feels like has like a great smile. I see him kind of like standing with his hands in his pockets, maybe like kind of not standing totally still, but just kind of like maybe maybe he kicks the ground a little bit when he talks, kind of like rocks a little bit back and forth. He seems very nice. Like, I feel like your daughter is going to be biggest on board for anybody that you date, more so because not that she ever feels like you're trying to replace her dad, but she just wants to see you happy. Not that you're not happy, but she just doesn't want you to feel like be alone forever. And I always am hesitant to say that because I think some people are perfectly happy not being in relationships, but I do feel like you really miss being in a relationship. But I feel like it'll be May before you introduce him to everybody. And it just feels like because just the way everything falls together for it, like a planning thing. And I do think your son will come around. It's just he's going to seem a little bit more reserved, kind of stepped back a little bit, just because he's just protective is the best way I can put it. And it doesn't feel like somebody's going to replace dad. It feels like, it almost feels like needing to feel like not the man of the house, but just be responsible and watch out for you. And I'm really happy for you. And you deserve all the goodness that comes your way. You're very welcome. I'm so excited that you came on. It's funny because whenever I start thinking about somebody a little bit, and I was thinking about you recently, then they pop up, they want a reading, or they come on the show, or they send a text. It's really interesting how that works. Okay, Rothka, let me read your questions and then answer them. And then okay, nobody else has purchased anything. Okay, Rothka, hang on. There we go. Okay. Okay. So as far as the first question, guidance about how it will go when you set boundaries, or guidance about how to set boundaries? Because I feel like you know how to do that. I almost feel like once you set them, because they're not really demanding, it feels like it's like bare minimum request for the boundaries with work. It feels like literally it's just a smooth transition. It's like, oh, I should have asked for that a long time ago. It's like when I used to I would schedule an appointment with somebody first and then be like, okay, so it costs this much, like here's what you need to pay for the reading. And I remember one woman like sent her text message and she's like, oh, well, I'm just really busy. And I'm like, but you have time to respond to me. Like, it's a quick payment, like just pay it. And she wouldn't. I finally just said, I was like, if you don't pay me by this time, then you need to I'm canceling the appointment, because I was just like, why am I saving this time for people? Like it was a lot of this, like chasing people to pay me for the reading. And it was uncomfortable at first to set the boundary of like, you have to purchase your reading first. And I would always feel like bad, like, oh, I feel bad. Like, I don't want them to think I'm like all about money, but like, no, I'm all about like, I have time that's worth respecting too. And also people wouldn't cancel appointments if they were much more respectful of my time if they had money invested in it already. And so it was like, it became a no brainer of like, why didn't I do this for so long? You're not going to disappoint people. It literally feels like when you do it, you're like, oh, why didn't I do this forever ago? I feel pressure to plan a lot of things to happen and have found it means they're executed poorly. Yeah. And when you sit down and say to them, so it feels like when you sit down and do it, it's literally, they're like, oh yeah, of course, that makes sense. It literally feels like it's no big deal. And then you're like, why did I spend in my head, like, like when I know I have lists of things to do and like, I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing this. And then when I finally do it, I'm like, that took me 5 minutes. Why did I spend so much time like humming and hawing about it? It's that kind of thing. Like it's more in your brain than it is like the actual. And I really like cat hair is not fun. I don't know what's going on. And then it feels like it's a non-issue. But I do feel like when you go towards it, it's like, look, here's what happened when we were rushing it. Like and I really feel like you'll be prepared in such a way. I know you. They're like, oh yeah, that is like, we want to make sure we're giving people the best that we have, like our best foot forward too. And it makes more sense. So it's fine. It'll be okay. Stop living in your head. I need to do that too. And then let me read the second question. As far as relationship stuff, I almost feel like there's been an avoidance and almost like a relief that there's the avoidance. I genuinely feel like the route you're going to end up going is for like a third party assistance. So either that's some sort of workbook or a person you have conversations with around this, helping you both find that safe space for vulnerability. Because I don't see that conversation happening just between the two of you. Not that you can't, and not that you're both very intelligent and articulate and all of that stuff, but it feels like someone helps you find a bridge to communicate with each other. So I don't know if that someone is an actual person or a book, but it feels like the things that you both went through are vastly different, and you both communicate in a very different way and reach within your own emotional space in a different way. And so with good intention, you often step on each other's toes, but not intentionally. It's just like, this is how I approach it. So I was doing a reading on TikTok on Friday, and a woman asked about, she was having an issue with her wife, and because her wife was going through depression and was very withdrawn. And I said, oh no, she's not depressed. She's burnt out. I said, I don't know where you're at, but the feeling I get is like somewhere on the neurodivergent scale, which is, neurodivergent encompasses a lot of things. But I said, I'm leaning really specifically towards like ADHD, autism, ADHD. And I said, she's just shut down, and you're forcing something where she's not ready because it makes you feel more comfortable to have, because the change is really hard for you. She's like, oh yeah, we're both autistic. So I was like, okay, well, but it just feels like it's uncomfortable, and you really do want to tiptoe around it to not make it uncomfortable for her as well. But it feels like there's somebody that you're going to work with that's going to help you break through that, and it's going to make it easier. And I don't know if that's an actual physical somebody or somebody who's written a good book on processing all of that and communicating. Professional. Yeah. And again, it may be the book, maybe somebody who's professional, who's, focused on who their focus is, like trauma healing and stuff like that. But it just feels like needing somebody to help make a bridge between the two of you, because neither one of you wants to hurt each other. Yeah, not necessarily via live engagement. It just feels like it's not something that ends up getting solved just because the two of you come together and talk about it. And maybe something like that. But it feels like it's something where there's a bridge, like where you learn how to communicate with each other better. There's something. So, and it could be that because there's a therapist I follow on TikTok, and he's great, but he randomly said something, and I was like, oh, that's to me brilliant. And I was having an issue with a friend. It was like one of my best friends, and I just felt like I was, there was a lot more giving on my side than on hers, and she just wouldn't even say how are you. There was stuff going on, and I was like, I can't do this. Like, this is exhausting. I've already got enough with my kids and stuff. I can't, I need to weed out people in my life. And we stepped away. We didn't talk for a long time. And I heard him say this, and I was like, okay. And so we had this conversation, and she was disparaging herself. I was like, I don't want you to disparage yourself. And I don't want to hear like, oh, I'm such a terrible person. Like that doesn't solve anything. And that's like, certainly I don't want somebody that I care about to talk about themselves that way. Right. I said, I want to feel like I'm being heard. And he said that. He was like, just tell somebody you want to feel like you're being heard. It changes the conversation. And it did. Like, immediately it was like, oh, she wasn't on the defense. She didn't need to do all that. It was like, oh, okay. And we're friends, we're talking now, we're close, and our friendship has healed. But it feels like it's something where there's just something that helps you bridge that communication gap that's happening. And it could be just something you hear on the podcast that helps that conversation being had. I think when people are willing to learn to communicate, that's where relationships last. When someone is unwilling to accept that they aren't good at it, and that's okay, and they can grow and get better at it in the relationship, if there's a person that's like that, then it makes it fail. But I don't feel that that's the case with the two of you. Relationships, regardless of what they are, romantic, work, friendships, whatever, if they are truly, maybe not so much work relationships, so communication or errors happen there, but friendships and stuff like that, the more vulnerable you are and the less superficial of a relationship it is, the more work it is. And communication is usually the culprit of the difficulties. And what a great, interesting thing that life offers us so many chances to grow in that area. Okie dokie. I will quit beating a dead horse. Angela, if you want to go, you're very welcome, Raka. Just a general what's a general question? You want just a general reading? I can do that. I feel like I have to say this though. Is there a question you really want to ask, but you want to just see if the guides will like talk about it and then you'll know? It's like this feeling I get around that. I'll do it. Let's do it. What does Angela need to know in this moment for her highest good? Sorry. You know how like you go out in the cold weather and then you just yawn a lot? I'm excited tomorrow because I get to have a big girl day out. My friend is in from Texas and I've known her since I was in 4th grade. And we had a club called the Material Girls Club because we liked Madonna. And she ran a half marathon today in the freezing cold and I laid in bed. But I'm going to meet her in the city tomorrow to hang out and I'm super excited. And luckily, it won't be as cold as it is today. Okay, let's go on, Angela. You don't care about that. Angela, do you suffer from headaches, either migraine or just have like a lot of pressure in my head right here and a little bit in the back of my neck? I just want to know if this is your energy I'm picking up. In your neck? Okay. So we all breathe enough for to sustain life, right? Otherwise you'd be dead. But I feel like you really need to do some more purposeful deep breathing and breath work. So there's all different kinds of breath work you can look at. There's Wim Hof, there's box breathing. There's something that's really simple that I learned lately. And it's like where you take as deep a breath as you can. And when you get to the top of that breath and you think that you can't take any deeper breath, you take just a little bit more. So it looks like this. So there's this guy out of Stanford that does these breathwork studies, and he's come to this conclusion, and I think it's starting to become more mainstream, is that breath work is actually more effective than meditation. And I like that particular breath work because it's easy. Wim Hof, you need to follow a whole protocol and it makes you a little dizzy. And then you're blowing off a ton of CO2. And then like the next portion of the breath work is breath holding. And you can hold your breath for a really long time because your body's trying to recover from blowing off so much CO2. When you blow off that much CO2, you can get like a little dizzy, like your hands can get a little numbness and tingly feeling and feel kind of weird. But that's something it's like you sit down, you need to focus at least, it's like a 10-minute process or 5-minute process. It's like you have to focus on it. That breath work that I just showed you is you don't have to think about it. You don't have to count. You can just stop and take 3, 4, 5 breaths. I just feel like I'm not getting enough. My body, my soul isn't getting enough, right? I keep getting drawn to like the feeling of a wedding ring on my, like a marriage or something like that happening soon. But then I heard marriage now, love later. So are you married or are you about to get married? Because I want to figure out why I'm seeing the discrepancy in the two. You're married now. Are you in a space for me when I would see that? If they said marriage now, love later, we have a wedding next month. Oh, okay. But what's the love later part? Why? I don't know that this means that you're getting divorced. I just want to say this. The feeling I get is I'm in a space right now, marriage now, love later. It feels like that feeling of just going through the motions. There's a disconnect. It feels not romantic at all. And to me, it feels like, yeah, you're going through this stuff, but it feels like that love will come back into it. It's not going to be just dead and gone until you part ways. It doesn't feel that way. It just feels like there is a bit of a monotony and routine to it right now. So does that resonate when I say that? Kind of. It just feels like more love is going to be coming back into the relationship, more romance, more where it feels more carefree and fun again. And that feels like late spring, early summer. So I don't know if you have a little weekend getaway planned or something like that, but it feels like deciding intentionally to spend more time with each other, like where it's just the two of you. And it's not like, yeah, you may go to a wedding or whatever, and it's just gonna be like a date or whatever, but it feels like that's because of a plan for somebody else. It feels like an intentional where you're starting to make more intentional plans for the two of you to reconnect on a different level. And it's like, he's not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. It just feels like you're just in a kind of a lull spot. And I don't feel like you fight. I don't feel like that at all. It's just like life is really busy and you have a lot on your plate. And so it's not as fun and easy breezy. So it feels like intentionally planning something for just the two of you to go and have fun. But I feel like it's a little bit warmer out before that happens. So that's good. So if you've been feeling kind of like, just stuck in a rut kind of a feeling and, oh, does this mean it doesn't work? Like, that's not it at all. It's just the intention has to be put in there to where it's not like the only time we spend time together is where we're actually like, it's out of an obligation for somebody else. Right. Because going to somebody's wedding is an obligation. Hi, Gia. Okay. Okay. May I leave you with that? Hopefully that was helpful and what you were looking for or needing in the moment. You're very welcome. Thank you for trusting me with that. Regine and Joelle, and I think I'm going to put Gia on the list too. For the general as well. Sure. My feet got cold when we were outside and my toes don't want to warm up. You're going to hear a ding in a minute. Hold on. Sorry. Yes, I stuck my tongue out of my computer. Oh, Devery, I got you. I didn't see you on here. I got you, dear. Let me put Devery and Gia in. Usually you say hello. Did I miss your hello? Okay, general for Angela, and then Joelle, what's your question? Are you here, dear? Okay. The first thing I felt, Regine, is that it would behoove you to do a little bit of energy clearing, or sort of like at the end of the day, like before you go in your house, just sort of like either visualize like a white light or like a duster coming over you, or you could use smoke, or even just like a little sage or frankincense spray, and spray over you, because it's just this feeling of, especially lately, like attracting a lot of heavier energy. I almost feel like it would benefit, and I don't know how into some of the superstitious-y stuff, because I know that you are fairly devout in your beliefs, but it's a feeling of like needing to like sweep off my front door and put like a blessing at my doorstep, and maybe something for energetic protection as you walk in your house, like that clears that before bringing it into the home, because it feels like maybe you've been a little bit heavier in your energy lately, kind of like wondering what's going on, and I feel like you're just attracting stuff from outside. Does any of that resonate? You're signing off since it's like, okay, sweet dreams, big hugs. I don't even know how many hours ahead she is. She's on the other side of the world right now. I mean, so it depends on, I always say it depends on how sensitive your lungs are, right? So it's easy to, like, so if I have somebody who's like either has a history of asthma or allergy issues, I definitely don't recommend like burning something. That's just me, because you can get an essential oil and put it in a little spray bottle with some water and make your own spray. I lean away from using sage, and I lean more towards using frankincense. So there's two theories on why I started doing that. I used to use sage all the time. Frankincense is definitely for removing negative energy. So there are two thoughts on sage. There's a lot of the white people thoughts on sage, and white people thoughts on sage is that sage clears dark and heavy energy. The indigenous people believe that it calls in spirit. And like lavender calls in positive energy, like releases the negative energy. So I use frankincense now. I use a spray over us burning it. Well, I take it back. Over like with the I'll use frankincense, these little sticks. But for a quick zhuzh, I use a spray because it's easier to carry around with. And also, if there's anybody in the area that might be potentially irritated, have it be a respiratory irritant. I'm very cognizant of that, probably my nursing background. Like I'm always like, so I don't know. I like the sage just because, but sometimes I'll use this. My kids are like, that smells like my room, because my daughter's room is right above. And I'm like, oh. But yeah, but I buy like these little tiny spray bottles. You can get them at Whole Foods. That's where I get them. I just fill it with water, and this one has frankincense in it. Frankincense essential oil, and the bottle will last forever. And you just put a few drops in there. Doesn't have to be anything major. Oh, frankincense, Frankencence. And they sell that at, like, like Jesus got frankincense and myrrh and whatever the other one was. It's just this feeling of having like a heavy energy over me. It's not your energy. It just feels like wondering, like, why do I feel a little, maybe it's like that. I go in my house and I just like, oh, I just feel kind of like bummed and down lately. And I don't know why. And it's like, it's not your energy. You're just a little magnet right now for attracting other people's heaviness. Does that resonate when I say that to you? Excuse my yawn. Sorry. You do feel down lately. Yeah. It's not your energy. It's just needing to clear a little bit. And then you could do, now I will draw, I have a sigil I make for myself. If I were you, there's different sigils and different things you could do. And you could even make it in a more Christian way if it makes you feel better. And just, you can draw it underneath your front door, like sweep off your doorstep. And you can draw like a little thing under your doorstep and just put your mat over it. You can put a little salt for clearing negative energy and put your door mat over it. And you can put like, there's black tourmaline, and this is a selenite little rod. You can put that on your top of your door. I've literally started drawing on my arm. Well, it pretty much came off. Hang on. I didn't scrub it on purpose. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Where did you go? There you are. Okay. So I draw a little thing. This is like a rune type thing. I draw that just on my left arm because left is how we receive, right is how we give to the world. So protection coming in through your left side. Just because I haven't wanted to wear my bracelets and stuff lately. I've been kind of like anti as much stuff on my skin as I can. Who knows? Maybe it'll evolve into a tattoo one day. But there's a lot of stuff you can do. It's just not your energy, and I just feel like that's the thing you need to know, that it's like not like you're in a rut or whatever. You're just drawing a lot of stuff into your house. You can even wear like a little evil eye bracelet, or I know a lot of the Mexicans that I know of that are Catholic wear the little Milagros like pendants or whatever, which is like, the evil eye, and there's like other little blessing things on there. Those are all like, I'm trying to think of it in the format of your spiritual beliefs versus mine. Like I'll go more of the witchy way, but I don't want you to feel nervous or scared about that because I know that you're Christian. So I would say like within that practice, that realm, those are things you can do that are not too witchy. And there is, cultural beliefs about, sweeping your doorstep off once a month. You can blow cinnamon in. But for the energy, it just feels like just kind of saging yourself a little bit. And, the churches use frankincense and all of those things. So maybe not the Protestant ones, but Catholic Church definitely does. What did I read you can put under your, I read this and I thought this was interesting. So you could try this and I know you don't have kids. I'm not sure if you have pets. You can take a pair of scissors and you just use it for this. It's not a household scissors. You like have a pair of scissors you just use for this, and you open them up into like a cross and put them under your bed. And it's supposed to like help keep the negative energy away when you sleep. I don't know if it works, just something I heard. So I'm passing that along. The truth is, and I will say this, that when we have really strong belief systems, sometimes we need these little ways of doing things in order to help us get our brain around that push that says like, you can't do that because that's, like you need that little bit of a symbolic gesture. Even though you could just say like, I'm safe and protected. I don't need to carry anybody else's energy. I never attract anybody's negative energy. That just seems to like, veer away from me. Okay. Can I leave you with that? All right, Joelle. Hi, yes, I'm here. We are currently in a bit of a delicate situation with the landlord where we had our pizzeria for many years, and my dad's worried because we might have to go into a legal dispute. You're welcome. And what? And we are trying to avoid it. I feel like you'll avoid the legal dispute, but you may move locations. And it may just be down the street, but it feels like there is somewhere nearby to move to. I feel like they want to, like, I feel like I see that building being demoed. Are you there still, Joelle? That's what's frightening me because in this place has been our source of income. I don't feel like you're going to have a problem with getting income. I feel like you'll find it'll be a smooth transition to a new facility. I don't feel like it'll go into legal dispute. It may even be another building this guy owns. You were supposed to buy it. I don't know. It feels like I almost feel like he got an offer he couldn't refuse. But I don't feel like you're going to lose the business. Has he talked about that they want to demo the building? Demolish, sorry. No, he wanted to sell, but he's reluctant. I just keep seeing rubble, and I don't know what that means. That's why I keep thinking demolished because I see like rubble. But I don't feel like your dad's going to lose his business at all, and I don't feel like it has to go into a legal dispute. But I'm not sure that that's the spot he buys. Like it's convenient to be able to buy that because you're there and you don't have to move and you just keep. But it feels like there may even be overlap between this place and the new place where you're still open at this one working and selling, and then the next place is like being renovated or gotten ready for you. And the building may be a little bit newer. I'm not talking about apartment. I see the business because I see that it might not be set up for like the space may not even be set up for a restaurant at present. It may just be an empty space and that they have to build out and put in the proper like the vents and things like that for a restaurant. Okay. So don't worry. I know it's easier said than done. Like, oh, just don't worry. don't worry about it. But I just feel like it'll all work out. It'll be okay. You're welcome. Devry, are you here? Devry and then Gia. Just a general? Okay. I feel like you're, they said, so I was like, what does she need to know today? And they're like, she's a little paralyzed in fear. I don't think you're fearful per se, but I just feel like there's not been a lot of movement on finding a different job, not been a lot of movement on, putting your side business into motion. It almost feels like you're stuck in your head, stuck in the little thought process. And I feel like you get a boost out of that later this week. So like after the 23rd. Ooh, I'm cold. Sorry. True, but I've been trying. I just got too many bills to deal with. Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't think it's like it just feels like it's kind of like in my head, like, oh, I want to do this, but also then a little bit paralyzed around it. So I just feel like it's going to get better after the 23rd. So I don't know why that is. Maybe it's the bills are paid, or I think there's a full moon on the 23rd. And they say this is a really powerful one for manifesting. So I don't know. So write your intentions down and burn them. And the other thing is this is the spring solstice, which is actually the beginning of the year. If you go by if you look at like astrology, and the beginning of the astrology chart is Aries, and Aries begins with the spring solstice. And at the they have like a astrology man where they show like all the different parts of the body, like where most people like I know Cancer is the heart. I think Capricorn's the knees, Scorpio's the reproductive organs. But there's like different areas that they rule of the body. But the beginning of it is Aries, the head of it is the Aries. And so it's like we're really in the beginning, the new part of the year right now. And even when you look at the cycle of the zodiac, the Aries is the beginning. When you hit Pisces, you've gone through every, supposedly they say you've gone through every lifetime of the other signs. And so this is like that's why they're the spiritual one. Aries is very grounded. And it just feels like this. So this is the beginning of the year. I don't know, I'm rambling here. This is the beginning of the year. And this is where you're going to get that motivation to kick and go. I also feel like this spring is a lot better for you. So I don't know if you get seasonal affective disorder or depression, where you just get like, once the spring comes, everything feels lighter and easier and moves easier. It's like the energy just kind of goes. But it feels that way for you. Like it's just going to go for you. And it's going to seem easier to get stuff done and to be motivated. I feel like plans have been made for your aunt. So it's like, it's almost like you really are certain now you don't have to worry about her anymore. I feel like you're doing a good job of getting so many responsibilities off of your shoulders. Okay. Gia, do you have a question? Wait, hand. Really, last I heard they were taking a trip, but great. Well, maybe it's like, I just felt like there's plans like for her. So it's like not needing to worry about her. If I eat more of a plant-based diet, can I cut out red meat? Do you see improvement in health issues I'm having? Um, I I feel like you need more fiber in your diet, Gia. I feel like you could eat red meat like once a week or whatever. It's not an issue. I do feel like you'll still need protein. I do feel like you need more fiber. So fiber is really good for clearing hormones and things like that out of your body. Really, really wonderful thing to eat are broccoli sprouts. Anything, sprouts are great to eat. They help clear excess estrogen out of your body, which can wreak havoc. But I also feel like maybe needing a little bit of iodine in your diet. So you might be lacking and having a little of iodine deficiency. And that you can get in seaweed, or just supplement with iodine, or you can get, if you don't eat a lot of fish, you can get it through your fish though, if you do eat it. I also feel like just needing to make sure that you take a good multivitamin that has methylated B vitamins in it over regular vitamins. I just feel like a little vitamin deficient and a little mineral deficient. So magnesium, zinc. Make sure you're taking a D3 with K. And I feel like that will help. But the sprouts are amazing how much they help you. And they're just a powerhouse in a small amount, and they have much more. So they break down, and I think something with DIM with like the hormonal stuff, because I don't feel like I feel like there's inflammation going on, and I feel like hormonal imbalances going on. Does that resonate when I say that? And a good probiotic would be helpful. So there's something called a quad biotic. That's really what you want to look for, because that's got the prebiotics in it. You sweat at night bad. Yeah. So some of that's hormonal. And might be a little bit of cortisol imbalance and insulin resistance that I feel too. But when you do the fiber and stuff, that helps with the cortisol. Also, stop drinking coffee on an empty stomach and make sure you're eating breakfast. Don't do the fasting shit. Don't do the fasting shit. Don't do that. Don't fast. A lot of the diets and things that we've been taught about have been based on male bodies, and women's bodies are much more complicated because of our hormone balance. And we're much more sensitive to cortisol than men are. We're much more sensitive to stress than men are. Our bodies feel it more. We don't respond the same way as they do, but our bodies will start to have more issues. Don't fast. Don't fast. You need to eat breakfast. You need to get up and eat within the first hour and a half. You have fiber over carbohydrates. Women need carbohydrates, so especially plant-based ones. But you want to make sure you eat instead of if you're measuring your macros, instead of measuring protein, fats, and carbs, measure protein, fat, and fiber. Make sure you get fiber in every diet. You drink coffee every day. I've actually, I had really elevated cortisol levels, a lot of stuff going on myself, and quit drinking coffee because I was like, oh, okay, well, I had all the symptoms of having high cortisol. So I quit drinking coffee, but not because I was like, oh, coffee's evil or anything. I was just like, well, it's fine. Like, so I drink stinging nettle tea in the morning with dandelion root. It's loose leaf that I drink. And then I have tea throughout the day, water. Sometimes very rarely I'll have a coffee or anything like that. I had one yesterday on accident because I ordered something else. And then I was like done with the coffee. And like, would you believe that I was like, I ordered a chai tea latte because I was like, okay, that's not as much caffeine. And normally I wouldn't order that at all, but we were outside. It was really cold and because I don't like all the sugar. And I got a regular latte and he's like, you don't want anything in it? No vanilla. I was like, no, I don't want anything in it. And I was like, at the end, I was like, oh my God, I just drank a coffee, but I was fine. I was worried about falling asleep at night because it was late in the afternoon. Anyway, I'm rambling, but my point is like, those are the things I feel like would be helpful for you. Okay. And walking. Like, don't do the heavy hit exercise things. Just walk and do weightlifting or Pilates or something like that. Because you still want to do weight bearing exercises because your muscles and your bones need that, but you don't need all the like crazy running, cardio, all of that intense stuff. May I leave you with that? How am I doing? I am tired because my kids keep getting sick. And finally on Thursday and Friday, like my two younger who go to school were back in school. So, and it's been like Girl Scout nonstop stuff. And it's going to be Girl Scout all next weekend. So I'm just like, I'm trying to dig in and still build my business more. And like, there's stuff I want to do. So I changed instead of offering the free half-hour reading, I'm offering a free question on Sunday. So when you get the letters on Sunday, starting next Sunday, it's going to have a person's name in it who's won a free question for the Sunday reading. Because I want to encourage people, but that's an easier thing than me just carving out a half hour for someone every month. Because I'm already doing this, right? And then I really want to get my calendar set up so I can set up for the psychic development group, and then also for doing message circles where I do a Zoom thing with 8 people and give you, mini messages there. So it's a little bit more personal and in person than this, but I'm doing okay. I'm looking forward to the spring and just all of that stuff. So I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. Thank you for asking. A wonderful week. And I will see you next Sunday. Okay. Have a good one. Thank you, Devry. I appreciate you asking. That was very sweet of you. Okay. Say goodbye.